This time on Video Game Tango, we're talking World of Warcraft Dragonflight and Wrath of the Lich King Classic. Then after the break, we've got a few phone games for Josh, the Victoria 3 leak, the new handheld called Playdate, a new Star Wars game, the It Takes Two movie, and Halo Episode 4.
Nick here, wanting to buy unionized Blizzard. Blessed workforce of the Windseeker, please send tell.
Hi, I'm Josh, and I have a Playdate to crank my favorite handheld.
Hi, I'm Justin, filling in for Shia LaBeouf.
My name's Andy. Welcome to Video Game Tango.
Oh, that was so good.
That was good.
I almost lost it.
Welcome back to Video Game Tango.
Welcome back.
We've got some big news today, at least in my camp.
Bigfoot.
World of Warcraft has announced their newest expansion
Bigfoot.
called Dragonflight.
Oh.
Yeah, sorry.
So excited.
Bigfoot was in Grand Theft Auto, Nick. Two different
sorry.
series.
Yep.
So we rag on Activision Blizzard a lot.
We do.
We kind of talked about this last week and how we want the best for the company. We just want better from the company. That said, it's still pretty exciting. It's still pretty near and dear to my heart as far as World of Warcraft and their properties go. So seeing new content come out and seeing especially what we got from their presentation this week, which was addressing a lot of player concern. A lot of the reason that players have continued to leave World of Warcraft. And seeing Ian Hazzikostas, the lead designer of World of Warcraft, really addressing topic by topic a lot of the things are going to change going forward and a lot of the new content that's going to be coming out with this expansion. I, for one, am crazy excited for this expansion based on their announcements. I was lucky enough to get their press kit, so we'll be showing that on screen for a little while. Just some concept art and some art from the cinematics and that kind of thing. It looks like there's going to be a new continent that's going to contain most of the new content. Mm-hmm. They're changing a lot of the... They're changing a lot of the systems as we've known them for a long time now. One of which being talents. If you're familiar with World of Warcraft, you know the talent system. You start leveling the talent system really early on. A lot of people... Now, there's an interesting dynamic. So the way I look at the talent system is I look at the current one as the new one. It's not quite new. It's been around since Mists of Pandaria. It's been around for several expansions at this point. 5 expansions. So it's older than the old talent system is. It's been a part of World of Warcraft since for longer than what we initially got as the talent system. The talent system as it was really only existed in kind of the classic era of World of Warcraft. And for more than half of its life cycle, we've had what I've considered the new talent system. And I've never been terribly fond of it. I don't think it allowed for a lot of customization in your class, which was kind of an exciting thing for players back in the day. The current talent system they have in place was to kind of mitigate the issue that they were having with the old talent system, in that you could create a cookie cutter build for basically any specialization in class that was best at doing a particular role inside of World of Warcraft.
So it was just essentially a min-maxer.
Yeah, if you were a min-maxer, you went a specific talent build for the specialization you took for your class.
Okay.
And that was a problem that they tried to address with the current system. Well, that's the thing about the internet is even if you redesign the system so that...
There's workarounds.
Well, there's not even just workarounds. There's still going to be a best talent to take in a fight or a dungeon, a raid, a PvP. There's still going to be the best in slot stuff. Yeah. Just like there has been for gear. While they give you a plethora of gear that's available for all classes, specializations, there's going to be best in slot gear. There's really no getting away from that when the math is clear. Going one way benefits you more than going another one.
Right. I think real quick before the topic's lost, it boils down to the fact that when you're considering raids and dungeons, the players versus the computer, they're static. Yeah. Every raid and dungeon experience is the same every time you play it. Therefore, it doesn't matter if your talents are passive or active, or they do this or heal that or give you this benefit or combo. Because like you said, your goal is to survive, 1, and 2, kill everything else. So if your goal is just to survive long enough till you kill everything and it never changes, of course there's going to be a best in slot.
Yeah.
So big problem.
With PvP, it's a little bit different. It is slightly more dynamic because it really depends on what you're fighting, right?
You're fighting different stuff.
Right, exactly. So PvP in itself, as a matter of being, is more dynamic than PvE when the content in PvE is static. So while there's been that kind of malleability inside of PvP, PvP, PvE there's always going to be a best in slot choice for PvE.
Sure.
So instead of creating a system that's supposed to by design kind of defeat that mold, and give the illusion of player agency, why don't you just give player agency and let people choose their talents? If they want to min-max, great. Good for them. That's the style of gameplay that they want. Yep. Versus the people that you've now removed the choice and the agency from, they have less control over their character. So why not go back? Now, it seems like they've done kind of a middle ground here, in that they're splitting talent trees into two different sections, one for class and one for specialization. Not a whole lot of information is out about that, but that is one of the things that I'm distinctly curious about and excited as far as changes go, because that's a dramatic change in World of Warcraft.
That's a check in the positive column for changes. Okay,
right.
Excellent.
I mean, even so, there are a lot of different play styles for World of Warcraft. There's a more classic play style where you level and then you reach the end game, you do the dungeons, you do the raids at whatever your difficulty you're capable of, and then you've beaten the game and you call it good. There are a lot of other people that like to do things like role play within the game. I
love me a good role play in a game.
Doing a little bit of role play, changing your outfit so you'll fit apart. A lot of people like to do that. And one thing that the older style of talents used to cater to was that. So you used to be able to get abilities or changes to abilities that would make you role play a little bit better in whatever role that you were given, or whatever role you gave yourself.
Exactly. That's a check in my positive column too. I like that idea.
It's as far as gameplay is considered, it's probably going to be one of the more impactful things. Another thing I'd like to cover is the new class and race. They announced the Drakthir, which is going to be a new race and a new class. You cannot play the Drakthir without being the new class Evoker, and you cannot be an Evoker without playing the new race Drakthir. So they go in tandem together. They've kind of done this before with the Demon Hunter. The Demon Hunter had two specializations, one of which was a tanking specialization. The other one was a damage specialization. So they've kind of done that already in the fact that you could only be a Night Elf or a Blood Elf race. So you were limited to those two races as far as the new class was considered. But they've never made a new race for a class or a new class specifically for a new race. So it's interesting seeing that. One of the reasons that's exciting to me is that reduces the amount of development time that they need in order to make this class work within the game. So
because it doesn't need to be spread across all the powers of the different races. It's just
exactly
it's these and it's that.
Right.
Okay.
So you don't have to worry about class balance in that. Of course, you always have to worry about class balance, but you do remove one issue, which is racial abilities from balancing.
That's one less variable that you have to worry across.
Still just the one what?
Is there just the one racial ability like there used to be?
Not necessarily, because some races have multiple like more or less than others. Orcs have multiple racial abilities, one that is passive and one that's an ability. And most of the races actually have passive and active racial abilities. So the fact that they don't have to then balance this new class around racial abilities, and they don't have to give new animations to all of the currently available races, means that they have a lot more. Thing. It's huge. Yeah. It allows the art team and the dev team more time to work on things that are more important than giving every every race a new
working on that crunch, getting on
right.
Yeah. So,
yeah.
You don't
have to give new animations to all of the currently available races, which is super nice. They're going to be able to focus on more important things like the balance of the class itself, right? So it allows the focus to be there and for them to work simultaneously on more things other than working on animations. So I think that's an important takeaway from what they're doing here, and I think that was a smart thing to do. And new and fresh and exciting. And dragons. This whole expansion seems to be about the dragons. Everybody loves dragons.
I mean, dragons are still big. Dragons are still big. So
Everybody loves dragons.
Except for city guards.
That's fair.
They get killed by them all the time.
We do have to take into account that it's been several dragons in the history of World of Warcraft that have brought upon the near end of Azeroth. But these are all good dragons, so don't worry about it, guys.
They're different this time.
Yeah, it's different. It's the same, but different.
I mean, that's not the only. Those aren't the only changes, right? I feel like there's a fairly significant change that we haven't touched on yet.
Which one are you to speak of?
I'm where you can Horde and Alliance can play together now.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So
that seems significant.
It's a great feature.
Yeah, and it's actually coming before the launch of Dragonflight. It'll be coming in patch 9.2.5, which is going to be another big patch just before the pre-patch before Dragonflight comes out. Hopefully to allow some playtesting to go on. I don't see how they could really mess that up. It seems that if you're to queue for content or if you're to join a party that has the other faction, that you should just now they've enabled that, right? Yeah. And that's good. I think that's healthy for the game. It's for me a little bit weird because for me I've been mostly focused on PvP ever since Cataclysm came out. So for more than half of the game's lifespan, I've been a PvPer, and it's been definitely Horde against Alliance. At one point, I had the grand idea of creating a machinima. I had a couple episodes kind of in the works already. I had written out a timeline for my character and his history prior to the show that I was working on starting. This never came to fruition. I gave up. It was too hard. Also, I'm really bad at voiceover. I am not an actor. So I quit in the middle of that. That said, it's a little bit weird for me because his whole history in my headcanon is designed around fighting Alliance. And there's a lot of weird history between my character and the Alliance that I think we're gonna have to get over.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean,
I
just want to see like a fun cinematic with the music in the background. Why can't we be friends? As like Horde and Alliance start just like beating down on a thing together. I think that'd be fun. Where's my fun cinematic?
That's a fantastic idea, and there are a lot of World of Warcraft players that do WoW Machinima that would probably love that idea.
Yeah.
Do it up, guys. Do it up. That's a freebie. Y'all can have that one.
Free one right there for you. It's unfortunately licensed music, so as far as your monetization goes, your mileage may vary.
But not me for the idea.
There you go.
The reason we can't be in an alliance together.
Mm-hmm.
So, aside from class changes, balancing, new classes, and that kind of thing, we get a whole new continent and a whole new part of Azeroth to explore. Now, it's a little bit weird that we haven't explored all of Azeroth now that these new continents keep kind of popping up. We had that in Wrath of the Lich King where we knew Northrend existed. It had existed on the maps prior to the Northrend, continent being shown in World of Warcraft. So that was known. The Panda Isles, those were, the Mists of Pandaria lifted and exposed Pandaria. Pandaria had been talked about for a long time as well. It was in the lore of Warcraft 3. It was just never shown, never on the map. Okay, sure. I guess we never ran into that for reasons. Okay. Aside from that, all of the islands that were discovered in Legion that are just like off of the shores of the Alliance territory, those we somehow didn't know about, but they existed.
It's almost.
And then let's see, Battle for Azeroth. The two
that was a government conspiracy, bro.
The two extremely large islands full of creatures and trolls and proto-humans existed as well. More mist. So now the veil's lifted and we get another continent. Now it's hard to add more content to the world of Azeroth when Azeroth has been a thing, for like 30 years now.
Could have gone underground. That's true. There's a lot of ground under there.
However, we've been down there. We've seen a lot of it.
One part.
That's true.
Have you been down on the other part?
No, we went down under the ocean. We needed to go down under the ground. You're right.
Well, I mean,
Shadow of Battle.
The Dragon Islands thing, it seems like it's further away. So it's not like a thing right off the fucking main.
Sure.
Right? So
none of these have necessarily been right off the coast, right? It's not like you can see the other coastline from the islands. But as far as we know, we've had open trade and stuff between the continents for
I think they all just
decades.
need to look out for giant things of mist.
By the cinematic I watched, there was the thing was shut down. Like
it seems like a magical veil.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
I mean, come on.
And it's dragons.
It's dragons.
It's
It
dragons.
looked like Seattle.
Yeah.
It was just raining. So much mist.
If anyone's going to make it so you can't find a thing, it's going to be dragons.
Yeah. Now the stone beings that we saw in the cinematic, that was really cool. Because that's the first time that the original Azerothian Guardians have ever really been shown. Those are effectively proto-humans. Those are what the Titans created originally to protect Azeroth, which eventually would have succumbed to the curse of flesh, which is what turned them into a lot of what the denizens of Azeroth are now. So that's actually kind of cool that they're bringing that in and giving us some old juicy tidbits.
My flesh is definitely accursed.
Oh God, yeah, same. So more cool stuff for lore guys. I'm excited personally to hopefully be able to explore these new islands, get new content in World of Warcraft, play maybe the new races or the new race, get my hands on the talents and the professions. So if you've ever played World of Warcraft, you've probably dealt a little bit in professions. I know Nick has.
Underwater basket weaving.
That he's the king
Level
of it.
600.
So professions have been a thing since the beginning of World of Warcraft. Whether it be jewel crafting, which I guess did come later than the initial launch, but blacksmithing, tailoring, alchemy, and all the cool stuff that you get to do in MMOs. They're doing some major reworks to the way the systems work, the way the UI works, which we'll get to in a second. And I for one, am very excited. It's weirdly probably the thing that I'm mostly excited for in this new expansion is they promise that the capital city that you're going to be returning to frequently in Dragonflight is going to be Horde and Alliance controlled. So you'll see a mixture of Horde and Alliance. That's always when you see the most players. It's not only that, but they're planning on keeping it busy. So in order to do some of the crafting that you're going to be doing in Dragonflight, you're going to have to be doing it at crafting tables. Think New World. You remember the opening of New World and seeing how massive the player concentration was and how impressive that was? Yeah. That's kind of what I'm hoping they can bring back to World of Warcraft with Dragonflight.
Honestly, that was that was a milestone moment. I was thinking about how to describe that properly. Because I'd never, that was my first MMO experience. And, I walk into town, and there's that main crafting area, and there's literally, what seemed like everyone who's playing the game.
There were hundreds of people there.
Hundreds of people there, just swarming around the thing to try and trade out your goods and whatnot. So, I don't know, man, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Because there's a lot of things that I've been asking for in World of Warcraft, but the sense of community, bringing that back is probably the most important to me. Getting on and playing with my friends when we all used to play in the earlier days, except for you, Josh, shame. Justin, he only played for a little while, but he did attempt.
Yeah, I think I played with you guys 2 or 3 days.
Yeah.
Were you a hordsman or an alliance guy?
I was the undead guy.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a horde. You're definitely a hordsman.
Yeah, we were horde. He played Forsaken.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it wasn't for terribly long, but you jumped in, gave it a shot. Unfortunately, Russ was the one that invited you to it, and he got all the cool stuff for inviting you, and then quit immediately. But let bygones be bygones.
He lives in Texas now, so who's being punished now?
No harsh time for him.
Yeah, no.
But the sense of community, bring that back and get having people on your server as friends again, seeing people out in the real world, in the real world of Azeroth, instead of just joining a queue in a capital city, never talking with anybody and instantly popping into your dungeon or your raid, is a very exciting thing for me. Not only that, but they made another change to professions that I think, how did we not think of this before, was creating a work order that then somebody with the profession that's needed to create your work order can craft it for you for a sum of gold and materials. That's mind-blowing to me.
Pretty basic quality of life stuff.
Yeah, it seems...
That wasn't already a thing?
No, so before you used to have to
just
ask in trade chat.
In the streets.
Yeah.
I need someone to make this for me, paying this much money. Please send me a tell.
There's shitloads of shorthand for it. WTS want to sell, looking for LF. So LF leather worker, and then you'd link the item that you're looking to have crafted for you. Have mats. I can provide you the materials to craft this. There's a whole thing around that. But people have stopped doing that for a long time because crafted items haven't been much of a thing. But the way they're speaking about it in the materials that we watched earlier about the announcement and the trailer is that these items will be totally feasible during all of the expansion. And not only can you craft them, you can also upgrade them with the correct specialization. So you should be able to keep older stuff relevant for longer.
That just seems like an enriching of that sense of community that you were talking about. So it seemed... That's nice. That's nice.
Back in the day, I used to go to this because I didn't take tailoring on my mage for a very long time. Tailors are what make cloth goods. I went to the same guy. I had him I added him to my friends list, whether he knew it or not. And anytime that I needed tailoring goods made, I went to that guy. That's how I had a guy because we had a sense of community. That guy was asking for little to no money, and I was more than willing to tip him. The guy asked for nothing, but I tipped him because I wanted to give to the guy for making me this cool thing, right? And that doesn't really exist anymore. Most of the time now, the stuff is bind on pickup. So the moment you craft it, it's bound to the person that crafted it, which is another thing they're changing. They're making it so bind on pickup gear can still be given to another player, but it is then immediately bound to the player that's receiving the item. Smart.
Yeah. I mean, it gets you one in there anyway,
Yeah. So those are just a few of the things that I'm looking forward to. Now, of course, we have to address the elephant in the room, which is I'm still not playing Activision Blizzard games.
Yeah, that's it's... I don't know. It's being excited, but yeah, it's exciting, and it's ooh, boy, look at all this neat stuff. Really, a sense of community, but it's you're not getting back into that. I don't know. Don't you already own this?
I do, but it's a monthly subscription.
Oh,
right?
Which you haven't been paying.
Which I have not been paying for a little over a year now at this point. Yeah.
So yeah,
this is the longest break from World of Warcraft that I've taken in 18 years.
Get your shit together, Blizzard, so we can play your games.
Yeah, I'd love to play your games because Josh already promised he would play with me if Bobby gets fired, which I do want to bring up. So Microsoft and Activision Blizzard have not decided if Bobby Kotick will stay or leave if buyout goes through. This, so far as I can tell, is a nice way of saying that Bobby Kotick will not be allowed to maintain his position once the Microsoft acquisition happens, if it does. That's being reported by the Wall Street Journal. So Bobby Kotick, it looks like, is not welcome amongst the folks at Microsoft if the acquisition happens.
You're bad for making money. Get out of here.
Well, I mean, they kind of know about him covering up reports of sexual harassment, having threatened to kill his assistant. and all of the stuff that's been going on within Activision Blizzard as far as the sexual harassment and awful things go under the watch of Bobby Kotick. So while the acquisition needs to clear some regulatory hurdles, if the deal happens, it looks like the board of directors do not want Bobby Kotick to maintain his position as CEO of Activision
Liability.
Blizzard. He is a liability.
It's not good for their bottom line.
Yep. So it does still mean that he'd be looking at his $200+ million payout. He'd have his giant golden parachute.
Yeah, he doesn't lose either way.
He doesn't. Yeah. Absolutely not. But not only that, but Bobby Kotick has actually recently expressed that it seems he's no longer interested in maintaining his position at Activision Blizzard. Probably, amongst all the acquisitions, there's also accusations.
Start my own video game company with 16-hour workdays and child labor.
That's right, dude. He's doing it old school.
It's just going to be like, we won't fight you on this parachute. Leave quietly, leave gracefully, and you'll leave richer than you've ever been. And you're already pretty rich. So
we'll see. The acquisition isn't set in stone yet. There's still a lot of SEC filings that have to happen. They're being looked into.
The government hates Microsoft, so.
The government does hate Microsoft. That's very accurate.
Yeah.
This is one acquisition that I think would be better for more people than it would hurt. That's my personal opinion on it. That we have no way of confirming that or knowing it, right?
Yeah.
But as far as Microsoft goes, they've shown that they're paying their employees well. They're vocally anti-crunch, and they've been paying good money for good games. So we'll see. Time will tell.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
I do have
Holy.
one more thing from Activision Blizzard.
Okay.
And then I'm done, I promise.
You promise?
We may not even bring it up next week. Don't hold me to that.
Bobby Kotick got ran over by a unicorn.
If he had, that would have been the title of the show.
Scotland is a hero again.
I will marry the entirety of Scotland.
Bobby got run over by a
unicorn.
Unicorn.
As excited as I am for new content, new things, I'm really excited for some old content. Along with the announcement of World of Warcraft Dragonflight, was announced World of Warcraft Classic Wrath of the Lich King, set to launch sometime in 2022 this year.
Your emotions betray you.
And I'm so ready for it, man.
Honestly, I heard the blood rush to your penis when you showed us that.
That's the problem with my blood pressure. Don't make too much fun of it, but
You know when you shut a fridge door too quickly?
that's kind of what happened. So World of Warcraft Classic, Wrath of the Lich King coming. It does seem they're going to be making some minor changes to the game. I'm okay with most of them. They are going to have what is likely a $60 fast level pass. Get you to level 60 or level 70 or level 80. Who knows?
Called the Laugh of the Rich King DLC.
But a quick way to level in Wrath of the Lich King, get to the end game content.
I mean, that's what you're playing Classic. You're playing Classic in the hopes to chase that fucking dragon of the experience you had in your teen or early 20s, right? And
100%.
everybody had the best time in Wrath. Like, yeah, Classic was great. Burning Crusade was cool, but like Wrath was where it was.
Wrath was where it was.
And it was the last Classic, right? It's kind of,
yeah,
but hands down.
The speculation here is actually that it will be the last Classic that they put out.
Yeah, what was after that?
Cataclysm.
Yeah, that was new.
They
blew up the world.
Honestly, yeah, that's what happened. I mean, they completely changed Azeroth. They brought in a whole bunch of new systems, and they changed the way the game played, and the experiences that you had. They definitely brought in more quality of life systems than I think needed to be there. The main thing that I think I missed about Wrath of the Lich King is that I could play that. In that expansion, I could play World of Warcraft as long as I wanted, every day, and still not run out of things to do. And that's not to say that I didn't experience all the content, because I did for sure. But what I'm saying is that there was always character progression. No matter what I did, I was earning a currency that further progressed my character. Okay. I never capped that out because there wasn't really a way to cap that out.
All right.
Even if it was just earning tokens from doing heroic dungeons, which are the harder versions of dungeons that you've done prior, and spamming those over and over for these badges that would give you better gear for your alt characters, that was something that I was doing with my main character, the one that I really wanted to be playing with for the most of my time. And for me, that not only made the amount of time that I spent with my main character a lot more fun and enjoyable, but also the fun that I had with my alt characters more fun and enjoyable. I never felt like I was wasting my time in World of Warcraft in Wrath of the Lich King, whereas every expansion since then
feels like you're punching the clock a little bit.
It does.
You get in there, it's like, oh, fuck, I got to do this thing so I can fucking get to the thing, but I got to fucking do a lot of these things first.
Yeah.
Literally go dig in the dwarven mines.
I mean, yes, sometimes. The introduction of things like daily quests, where you can complete a bunch of daily quests, and they give you rewards and further progression, but then once you're done with those, like, what is there to do? My character at this point is geared. All of my dailies are done. Am I just going to spam some dungeons for the love of the game?
Nah.
Not really. I feel like I'm wasting my time, right? Like I have my achievement points, and
there's no bother going to gather the moon grass to take to your fucking guide to turn into cloth.
Yeah,
because that's not a thing anymore.
You just weren't seeing progress.
Yeah,
you know, and that for me has been the feel of the game for a long time now, basically since Cataclysm. I've had a lot of fun in every expansion so far. Every expansion has had some really great things, really good cinematics, some good additions to the lore, great new classes, great new races.
But it wasn't it wasn't.
But the content wasn't there.
Yeah, and it wasn't exactly like you say, Cataclysm. They blew up the planet, right? That's when they started changing the talent tree.
Yeah.
You were saying?
Oh, yeah.
So, like this, it makes sense that this would be the last classic because it's really like the last of that classic WoW feel. And
that's when they added in goblins, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Goblins and
goblins
Worgen.
Ruin everything.
Yep. It's true. You know what? It's all the goblins' fault.
Yeah. Showed up in their shitty oil city, just gunked up the atmosphere.
Goddamn oil city. Well, gentlemen, we have a few minutes left. Is there anything that you'd like to talk about that's quick, or should we just go to break?
Regarding WoW, fix your shit, Blizzard.
I wouldn't mind if you guys wanted to share your experience with WoW, because Nick and I especially have had some shared experiences in World of Warcraft.
Yeah, I played up until Wrath.
Yeah.
So I watched.
Through Wrath.
Sorry.
Oh yeah, through Wrath.
Yeah.
For the most part. Go ahead.
I watched a fairly disappointing movie.
Yeah.
Which was that?
World of Warcraft, the movie.
World of Warcraft, the movie.
Oh,
yeah.
The movie, yeah.
For all the hate that it gets, I didn't hate the Warcraft movie.
No, I mean there was some. I don't know. Like, see,
never saw it.
I
didn't either.
Man, I would love to really deep dive into some Warcraft lore. So I'm actually going to be checking out some YouTube videos. So
why don't they just make a series?
See, that's the thing that gets me is I see all these awesome cinematics, and it's like, just y'all saw Arcane, right?
Yeah, they get really excited, and then somebody makes Halo, and they're like, "Oh yeah, that's why we don't do this."
Yeah.
I'm just saying, Arcane was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Arcane was amazing.
I've seen Halo animated, and I liked everything I saw when Halo was animated. Just saying.
Yeah.
So maybe when it comes to cool sci-fi, high fantasy stuff, we do some animation. Keep it in the.
I think you could absolutely get some Game of Thrones level quality in a World of Warcraft show or movie.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. So I didn't hate the Warcraft movie. I hate a lot about the Warcraft movie, but at the very least, I did get to see they did an excellent job at portraying the orcs. The actors that played the orcs did a fantastic job. The CG was mostly really good. There was some really bad CG, but mostly really good. I can only talk about the technical achievements as far as the movie goes. Those were the only good things about it. Everything else was fucking hot garbage, including the lore changes they made to major characters. But,
Can't make a movie out of a game without changing at least 70% of it. That's
I don't understand why it changed one of the coolest major characters of Warcraft.
Every video
lore.
game movie.
I know.
Change it just to change it.
Changing Medivh. Why did they change Medivh?
Let me ask this question.
Yeah.
Was the Warcraft movie better or worse than the Mario movie?
The original?
Well, it was better. I mean, it was better.
Yeah.
But I also didn't hate the Mario movie. So
I was young when I watched it.
Yeah.
I've watched clips of it since, and
Yeah.
I think it's more fun as an adult.
it stands alone in its own category.
It is alone in its own category. As long as you see it as somebody's fucking pipe dream of what
Crack pipe dream.
yes, of what Mario would look like in real life, then sure.
I can't remember the actor's name who plays Bowser. He
Uh,
also played the bad guy.
Yeah,
in
he's
Waterworld.
and Speed.
Rutger Hauer?
No.
Oh no, I'm thinking of Blade
Well, this is
Runner.
going to destroy my
I almost
brain.
want to say his first name's Dustin.
Dustin Hoffman.
No,
It's not Jack Black.
not Jack Black. Whatever you searched was not adequate. Dennis Hopper.
Dennis
Dennis
Hopper.
Hopper.
I knew
Yes.
it was a D. Yeah.
I forgot that the new Mario movie is a thing.
Yeah, that's true. It
Wait,
is.
there's a Mario movie coming out?
Yeah.
It's got an interesting cast. I'll tell you that much.
Sure
Yeah.
does.
Tenacious D. To start off with.
Hold on. Who would you think is playing Mario in the year 2022?
I don't know.
Guess.
Not even a guess.
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
Well, you probably didn't think it was Chris Pratt.
because it's Chris Pratt, the famous Italian
So,
plumber.
so yeah, I was going to
Pratt.
say Chris Pratt, he's Italian now.
Yeah.
Is this
Yeah.
like that movie where they had the white chick play the Asian pilot?
Oh yeah.
I don't know.
I can't remember.
Are you talking about Ghost in the Shell?
No. So there was it's a biopic.
Yeah, it's based off a real person who is like half Japanese and half Hawaiian or something like that.
And she was played in the movie by
Emma Stone?
Emma Stone,
Mm.
who is famously
Not Japanese.
not Japanese.
Also, I don't think she's that good of an actor. I'm just gonna throw it out there.
Yeah,
She sure is pretty though.
She's very pretty.
I've seen some parts of movies where she shined, but
Sure.
she's not any like. I wouldn't give her an Oscar.
Yeah.
There's some actors out there that because they've acted, they have made everyone else amazing actors. They
Yeah.
set the bar so low that you can't see it,
I wouldn't.
I haven't
even
seen
from the top of Elon Musk's hole.
the new 101 Dalmatian movie, or no prequel. It's a prequel.
Cruella.
Yeah. Cruella.
Yeah.
I heard good things about it though.
If
Me too.
you're not like a Cruella Dalmatian fan, and you just like you don't care about the fact that they're like making a backstory for a character that some people are in love with, it's a fun movie.
Yeah,
I've watched a few times. Kids love it. It's
I
fun.
saw some clips and it looked good.
It's not a bad watch. Yeah, I mean, I guess before wrapping up Warcraft, I have been, like I said, played up until just about the end of Wrath. It's a dinosaur. They started a lot of things. They invented a lot of things, and they set the standard for a lot of things. And I don't feel like they've changed enough, and they're going to die if they don't change more.
I think
So
you're probably right.
hopefully they will make some. What I say, they need to rip up the carpet. They need
Evolve.
to, get with it. Because I mean, to this day, like no one's captured WoW. No other MMOs really competed, and we've moved on. And I don't even think WoW is going to be able to beat WoW unless they become something else. So we will see.
Yeah. We'll see. Dragonflight might be the resurgence of WoW. Who knows?
Maybe.
Probably not.
StarCraft MMO.
I mean, oh, please. That said, I think we're going to go to break. I just want to say make Azeroth great again.
Joshua,
Nicholas.
you asked me the other day, last Wednesday in particular, about
did.
good phone games.
Make me a list.
I started to, and I was browsing the subreddit for Android gaming, and I came across a game that looks super generic and boring and had good reviews. I said, fuck it, try it. And I've been playing it all week. I know that Slay the Spire is not particularly your jam, but this particular game is probably the best clone of that I have played. Super generic name, Rogue Adventure. It looks super generic to start. But yeah, it is a card-based roguelike, much like Slay the Spire. Completely free. There's some ads if you want extra coins in game. I don't do it that often. And it's one of those games where you start playing, you've got the warrior class, and if you manage to beat it, you unlock the wizard class. And if you do that, you unlock the next class. There are 12 freaking classes. They all have entirely different mechanics. The classes are level-upable outside of game. So every time you beat a particular run on a class, you can do the next harder level of that. There's artifacts like in Slay the Spire, and it has been a lot of fun. I highly recommend it. Rogue Adventure.
Rogue Adventure.
To start the list. There are others, but I want to keep curating it. I started looking through my list of games on my Google Play account, and I stopped counting by pages after I hit roughly 2,000 games.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. But yeah, Rogue Adventure is worth checking out. I think the full game's like $5. I'll probably pick it up eventually, which just I think makes you level up faster and gets rid of the ads there are no forced ads, which if a game has forced ads, I don't play it.
Yeah.
But yeah, highly recommended. You already know about Unciv.
I do.
The Civ 5 clone. So yeah, those two, I've 50, 60, 70 hours probably in Unciv now.
Is Unciv available through the...
It's on the Android. It's completely free, and it is Civ 5 in its entirety, including mods.
I have to look at that.
The graphics are very basic, but it is Civ 5, and it's probably my favorite Civ. Highly recommend it. Other than that, I have dove back into, no pun intended, Horizon's Gate. It was a sneaky little indie game that came out maybe a year or two now ago.
That's the trailer we watched.
We watched a little trailer for it. It looks and feels like an old Super Nintendo JRPG. It is very akin to Final Fantasy Tactics. Not in its story, because nothing come close to that.
That's true.
But the gameplay itself is awesome. Besides turn-based, grid-based combat with jobs that you level up, jobs mixed together, there is also nautical combat using similar mechanics. And it plays similar to Mount and Blade in the open world sense that if you want, you can become a merchant and buy low and sell high. You can become a pirate or a... mercenary, or you can join up with one of the kingdoms and start taking over stuff. You can build ports and upgrade them to build unique ships, a whole bunch of stuff. When it first came out, I got close to endgame, and then petered out because some other game, probably Deep Rock, showed up. But since then, it's had a lot of updates, and it's got the workshop enabled on Steam, and I found one guy who's been making content packs for it, endless dungeons, new zones, new towns. They all work together. I download 10 of them, and it, from what I can tell, almost doubles the content of the game. And I already had a good, I think, probably 30 to 50 hours in it.
I thought it looked fucking adorable, but it did give me that Super Nintendo feel.
Yeah, you start playing it, and you're like, okay, I mean, I guess, right? And then the next thing I know, it was 6 a.m, because those kinds of games, when they're done well, you're like, oh, if I just do one more battle, I'll have enough job points to unlock this new skill. And then I can multi-class into Shadow Archer. And you're like, oh, Laser Wizard. I want a Laser Wizard on my boat, right? And they have boat battles. You can.
And I was going to say, and as far as for like a Super Nintendo level graphics, that ship combat looked pretty interesting.
It was fun, yeah.
Naval combat looked neat.
You have to worry about wind, and you've got different cannons you can use and firing arcs. And if you get close enough, you can board the enemy ship and fight them man to man if you want. No, it's really great, and the music's fucking banging. It's one of those old chiptune style stuff, but like I found myself bobbing my head at the combat music. I'm like, this is really cool. So besides that, April 28th in 8 days, I blanked on the name. Rivals Season 2 of Deep Rock Galactic is coming out, and I'm definitely planning on streaming that. Hopefully you guys can join me.
Oh, I am. I'm definitely down to rock some stone. Rock and stone.
Rock some stuff.
Rock some stone.
Maybe we'll find Carl after.
I'm
all this
always.
time.
Carl's in your heart.
That's right.
He's in your beard,
But you have to unlock your heart.
which is in your heart.
which is in your heart.
yeah.
It's the beard inside that counts.
Your heart's in your beard.
Dexter's laboratory. Other than that, I really haven't been doing much game related. Play a little Pokemon Arceus here and there with the kids, Fortnite with the girl, and yeah, it's been my gaming.
Arceus. What's that like?
Arceus.
Arceus. What is that like? That's the.
It's like playing Pokemon for the first time after 30 years.
It's the Switch version of the Pokemon. We talked about this last week or the week before.
But it is an open world, over the shoulder Pokemon running around in the wilderness game, as opposed to you walk through a bush and there's random Pokemon.
Yeah, one of my friends, she was playing. She's like, "Yeah, I can't get in. Like, I'm out of stuff. Like, and these Pokemon keep chasing me and attacking me, and I keep accidentally like walking in front of Pokemon attacks."
Well, my
like,
4-year-old nephew plays it, and he doesn't have those problems. So I don't know what
Yeah, well,
you should talk to your friend. Your friend has got problems.
no, in this one, the setting is kind of like you're in a new zone where it's old school Japan, like pre-technology. So the Pokeballs you have to craft out of stuff that you find. So you can run out, but you can just get more. Most of the things about the game, I'm not a huge fan of. It's got a lot of problems. It's still very much a like kid-aimed JRPG, but I've been playing Pokemon since the 90s, and it's been the same game for over 20 years now with just new coats of paint. So to be able to play something that really felt like, okay, this is new, and I could see most of their games are going to be going in this direction from here on out, it's going to get pretty wild.
Very cool. I like it.
Justin, you have secrets? Spoilers?
No. Well, I'm a pretty big fan of a company called Paradox Studios. I've been playing their strategy games for probably about 2 decades. One of their games that's hopefully going to be releasing sometime this year, Victoria 3, was an alpha of the game was leaked a few days ago, and a lot of people are going back and forth over the game as it is right now. Most of the reactions are positive. I'm really trying not to go and find a download for that, but I've been hoping for this game for like over 10 years because Victoria 2 came out in the aughts. I think
it's been a long time.
2008, 2009, something like that. And I'm really excited. It's like I said, a strategy game. It's a detailed population demographics game. So you have pops that you sort of take care of. Another layer of the game is the political societal simulation. You have movements of people demanding freedoms and things like
set in real time.
Set in real time.
The year span.
1836 to 1936.
What amounts to the Victorian age?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Makes sense.
And it's a very complicated economics game, basically. I mean, there is still war and diplomacy and stuff like that, but the main focus of the game is you're leading a country over that 100-year period through the industrial era and up to that like World War setting. But
yeah, that's going to be difficult not to go search around, try to find it and test it out, because it looks like it's the beta version that got leaked.
Yes.
So I imagine, knowing Paradox Games, having played Lost Stellaris, it's probably full of bugs.
Oh yeah.
Well, yeah.
That's the big deal with Paradox Games is that they only get better with time. For the most part, they never really abandon a game until it's been out for 3 or 4 years. And in that time period, they usually have a pretty well-finished product at the end.
I have nothing but positive reviews about Paradox and their products that I've used so far as well. But a little fun thing about the Victorian age. So you can get it's perfect for a neat D&D party. Just saying, in this age, you have the Meiji Restoration. You have American cowboys. Mm-hmm. You have pirates in the Caribbean. You have so you can get legit. You can get a Victorian English cut purse rogue. Mm-hmm. You could have a samurai warrior fighter, and all a cowboy gunslinger dude, and a pirate guy, all
absolutely
existing at the same time, and that's
fantastic setting.
Fucking dope as hell.
The concept that a samurai could have faxed Abraham Lincoln still blows my mind.
Yeah,
That's right. The thing that could have happened.
Victoria.
No, I always think was it Mystery Men or Death on the Nile, that kind of pulpy Victorian turn of the century feel would be fantastic. Imagine Supernatural, but with stovepipe hats and monocles and blunderbusses.
Did they ever do an episode like that?
Oh, probably.
Probably.
It was 9,000. It's 18 seasons of it. Yeah, they probably did that at some point.
Yeah, but no. Crusader Kings, I think, is probably their most well-known. Well, maybe Stellaris. I don't know. Paradox, which one's their most well-known title?
The Europa.
I was going to say, I feel like Europa is probably their flagship.
Yeah,
it's definitely their flagship
for 20 years.
As far as the non-4X strategy gaming crowd goes, CK3 did pretty well. They had some good marketing for it, and
how great was T-Pain?
There is a new flavor mod for CK3 coming out, I believe this month or next month. It will focus on Spain and the conflict between the Christians and Muslims, the Reconquista, is what the Spanish called it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and if anybody's listening and you have the idea of high-level strategic games intrigue you, and you like things like Game of Thrones, for example, these games are so prone to modding. Yes. You can get there's a complete overhaul. Is it for CK2 or 3 that you're doing?
It's for CK2, the one I'm doing. The finished one, but they're releasing one for CK3, and that's when I will buy CK3. The day that mod drops. I'm picking up CK3 so I can play a new version of the Game of Thrones version.
Crusader Kings, I don't think we've actually said the title yet.
Crusader Kings 3, yeah. Sorry.
So if you're pissed about the Starbucks cup and Danny forgetting things, and you want to run your own house and show D&D how Game of Thrones actually should be done, you can do that.
Well, we talked about earlier with WoW how you can really have some personal role playing with your with that old school. This is built for your I get to run headcanons for histories, and so it's very
you're not
fun.
Trying to get a high score, you're not trying to win, you're not trying to kill everybody.
For the people
it's a story game.
This is good stuff. Absolutely.
Speaking of good stuff, I heard there's a little box with a crank wheel.
There is a little box with the crank wheel. Now the bad news is if you already haven't ordered your play date, that's what this bad boy's called, and they're bright yellow, and they have a crank, and they have a monochrome screen.
Let's slow down for a second. What is this?
This is a new portable gaming device. It really blends. It's a good blending of retro and modern gaming. The entire system is going to be running. This is one of the more interesting ideas. We got a little thing going up on screen here.
Podcast.
Sorry, I'm just the advertisement started running.
Josh saw some flashy things.
And I was very much like a T-Rex. My vision's based on motion. But you're gonna get 2 games a week from the moment you turn this on and log in. You're just gonna the games are gonna pop up on this thing. So it's gonna be a seasonal release. The games are kind of between old school, retro. You're gonna have some modern looking ones. The crank wheel absolutely boggles my mind with a little gaming thing. Obviously, you've seen it in fishing games, like a little fishing reel thing.
I actually love this little promo because they're definitely self-aware. They're advertising extremely high resolution, and then they show it off. It's 400 by 240 pixels.
Yeah,
and then the next one says super reflective for their display, which if we remember the Game Boy, that's kind of a meme. That's
if
pretty
they
funny.
don't show a kid in the back seat holding this up when the street lights pass so you can see the screen for half a second.
So like
I watched Metal Jesus Rocks play it, and he was playing it on his couch upside down so he could keep it up in the up in the sunlight comfortably for a little while. It was funny.
Fantastic.
So I mean, and that's what that blending of the retro. This seems like the OG, the Game Boy, like harkens back to the Game Boy. Unfortunately, without a backlit screen, it harkens back on that aspect in a way that we don't necessarily want anymore.
Yeah, it's a weird choice.
It does seem like a weird choice. Now, the most unfortunate thing besides the screen is I just heard about this today. It shipped out the 18th, which is just a few days ago. So if you too just recently heard about this little gizmo here, the play date, and the crank intrigues you and you like the idea, well, you're gonna have to wait till next year to get one.
Sold out.
If you order one now, you'll have to wait.
If you order one right now, you'll have to wait till next year. So unless you've already ordered one, you're SOL on this bad boy. I really like the idea of more people throwing out devices so we can get this. This looks neat. I think it's cool.
It does look pretty fun and pretty novel.
It's rare to see just random novel handheld game consoles come out of the blue, you know?
Right?
After looking at the crank, it kind of reminds me of Rick Sanchez creating a miniature World of Power with car battery.
Yeah, it kind of does like a little Rick and Morty device.
Yeah.
Right? It's got that feel to it. Yeah.
Let me see. Some of the games were...
Just crank it, Morty.
That was good. Perfect.
There's time travel adventures. I saw one where you and a bunch of your friends are having to make recipes to summon a devil. And you have to get the recipe right, or he kills you. Like it seems like there's some fun stuff. I don't know. It seems neat. It seems neat. It's just unfortunate that it seems like it's very niche right now. So maybe if it does better, they can expand their operations to get that out to more people. But I would be intrigued to buy one, and at under $200, it seems like a fairly modest price range.
Yeah, I'll have to keep an eye on it. Hopefully, they ramp up production.
Yeah, I mean, it looks fun. Did you say how much it cost?
I think it's $179.
Oh boy, that's Switch money
for what it is. Given that you can buy a Switch for that cost, and the Switch can do a lot more.
Now you don't get free games with the Switch,
that's
right? So you know.
I think that's probably what most of this cost is the subscription, right, to get those games.
Yeah, so I mean, games are baked into the cost of the console in this case, but that's $170 is kind of hard to justify when you can get a Switch Lite for $200. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, definitely.
But I mean,
this is initial run. Also,
for sure.
They don't have the economy of scale that Nintendo
No,
has.
absolutely not. I understand why the cost is that high. It has to be, right?
Yeah. It's just risky.
It is. I mean, yeah, you're paying $170 for something that should give you tons and tons of entertainment. I hope it does.
However, given the little bite-sized pieced video games we're seeing that are extremely, like, I wouldn't say cutesy, but retro and feel. Yeah. It might be perfect for the TikTok generation that has attention span of roughly 5 nanoseconds.
I think that's probably who this is going to appeal to the most. Mm-hmm. It's going to be the people that bought the Snapchat glasses, you know, the trendy people. Yeah. So
there's like a samurai dueling game that we're checking out here. It looks kind of neat.
I don't see where this game needs a crank.
You gotta
maybe
crank the
this one.
zip, man.
Yeah,
The samurais, you gotta crank that. Look at him. He cranked those guys to death.
I could use a mouse to do that.
You could use a mouse
Yeah,
to do
but
that.
you can't crank a mouse.
Watch me. This isn't wireless, but as soon as we go wireless,
Yeah.
I'll crank it.
That neon yellow color, though, that reminds me of my very first Game Boy
Sweet.
Color.
Of course,
yeah.
you got the Game Boy Color, fucking the
Yeah,
Pikachu edition.
I never got.
Well, no, I got the. I think it must have been the Pikachu edition.
Yeah, that was the
it must
yellow
have
one.
been- I always figured it was because my parents waited till the last minute and yellow was the only color they had left.
No, man, that was for
Maybe my parents
Pokemon
loved
Yellow.
me more than I gave them
You're
credit.
not OG if you didn't have the brick.
Oh, dude, I got a gray brick. I got a gray brick.
I got a hand-me-down brick that was broken, and they said I could keep it if I fixed it. I never fixed it.
I had at the last stages of my original Game Boy, you couldn't move it, otherwise it would reset. So I had to tape it to a lamp that was next to my desk, so that I had to use my hunt and peck with my fingers to play. Because if you bumped it at all, the game would just reset.
Wow.
I had the Game Boy Pocket, so just a little bit before the Color came out, I got the Game Boy Pocket.
Yeah.
Just a slimmed down version of the OG. It still had all the same problems. No, if I remember right, I feel like the Pocket had a backlit screen, but I may be wrong there. At any rate, that was my first, and I'm pretty sure a guy at my dad's dead. I can talk about him. At my dad's AA meeting, stole it. I'm almost positive that fucker stole it because he was just begging to play with it the whole night and shit. And every time I was like, leave it out of my sight for even just a second. Because while this was the Game Boy Pocket, I was like 8. My pockets weren't big enough for that shit. So I'd leave it on my chair or whatever. And every time I turned around, that fucker had it in his hands. And I'm like, dude, that's my Pokemon save. Like, don't play that.
Awful.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that fucker stole it. But,
Well, now he has.
I hope
cancer.
AA didn't work for him.
for his dad.
For his dad.
Yeah. I hope
You know what? I hope it's not working for him either.
Oh, I thought you meant the dad took it.
No.
This was a kid?
This was a kid. Yeah.
Oh, I
this-
thought it was like a full.
No. This was another child that was there. Yeah, I fucking hated that kid. His name was Caleb. What a piece of shit. Because I never saw him again. He never went to his dad's AA meetings after that. Yeah,
you stole your Game Boy.
yeah, he was too busy
not
at home
showing
playing
back
with his
up.
fucking brand new Game Boy, bastard.
Yeah.
You know what? I hope Caleb's parents got a divorce.
I think they may have been in the process. That's what
They
that's what
got
it
a
felt like.
divorce.
That's what it felt like.
Maybe he needed the Game
Hopefully
Boy more
his
than you.
mom.
I hope he feels fundamentally alone in life, and that when he reaches out,
Josh is going hard.
No, he died. Now that I think about it. No. He went missing.
Oh,
Yeah, the last I don't know the update. Sorry, this
Good job,
may
Josh.
be in really poor taste, but the
should have taken that Game Boy, bitch.
no the last time he I saw anything
Joshua.
about him was a public post that was shared on Facebook about him missing.
I hope he's alive.
I was like,
Sorry,
holy
that's
shit,
fucked.
is this the Caleb that stole my Game Boy? Like, so that
Karma is real.
I forgot about that. I'm glad I remembered that.
Steal a Game Boy, steal your life.
That's right. Apparently he went missing somewhere in the Portland area. Like I think it was late last year. I have no idea what became of that. Like I'm not associated in any way with this guy other than the fact that I saw that random post.
And you're
So-
pretty sure he's the guy that stole your Game Boy?
I'm like, not, dude. It's that face. I would never forget that face. Because to be fair, I went over to his house once. I played his Sega Saturn, which is the only time I ever got to play a Sega Saturn.
Oh man, yeah.
Yeah, and I was blown away by that shit. So I remember this kid well enough.
In fairness, he let you play his Sega Saturn, so
And then he kept my Game Boy for life. But fair payment, definitely.
Fair trade.
The Sega Saturn is definitely better than the Game Boy. No, obviously I hope him the best. I hope he's not still missing or worse. But I just a random thing that popped in my head. I was like, holy shit! Now that coming back to this story, I'm remembering that.
Exactly how old would he have been when he went missing?
Our age. He was I'm pretty sure he was like within a year of me at least.
Those Nintendo Hitmen are really behind.
Yeah.
Back
well, I
then.
mean, you know.
A lot of work.
So that wasn't the only new thing I discovered today. I also
Feelings?
yes
You discovered your feelings.
another new thing that I discovered. I have a pretty good feeling about. It's a new Star Wars game. Now there's not there wasn't a lot talked. There wasn't a lot talked about it, except that it's Skydance New Media and Lucasfilm Games, of course, teaming up for a new original story. It's going to be set. It seems like it's going to be set in the original trilogy timeline.
Now, real quick, can you tell me what Skydance is kind of famous for?
So as far as I know, they've only made one other game, and it was a narrative style game for Marvel Entertainment. But Skydance does movies, I think, right?
I don't know. I'm trying to look it up. So what did we find out about this game?
So, so far, what we know...
Walking Dead Saints and Sinners is what they've done.
Okay.
Also Archangel, but I don't know what that is.
So far, we know that it's going to be a richly cinematic action adventure game. So I'm feeling like an Uncharted kind of a feel is what they're going to be, is what they're promising anyway thus far.
Well, it was the Uncharted director that announced it.
Oh, see, there we go.
Yeah.
That is helpful, but there is not a lot of information. It's essentially just an announcement.
Yeah.
But with Star Wars Lego Trilogy launching this year, Star Wars Hunted, Bounty Hunt. Like there's another Star Wars game that launched as well. A little less fanfare, a little smaller. We also have the Fallen Order sequel coming out.
Mm-hmm.
And then with this game, it's really showing that Star Wars, its future is existing in a video game medium. And I
at least that's where it's thriving.
At least that's where it's thriving the most, in my opinion, right now. I mean, fingers crossed on Obi-Wan, but I'm excited to have, and then of course the KOTOR remake coming out
when it comes out.
Probably the day after I die, I imagine, because that's how fate's going to work for me. I only sat through Last Jedi, so why wouldn't I get to play the KOTOR remake?
Fortuna.
She's a bitch.
But I am always excited for a Star Wars game.
Yeah.
They've been hitting pretty good recently. So I was excited to see that.
In Skydance New Media, the reason there isn't a whole lot on them and why we didn't know them is they're relatively new. They started in 2019 and was founded by Amy Hennig. She is best known for work on the series of Legacy of Kain, Jack and Daxter, and Uncharted, for which she was creative director. So that is a good
resume.
Good resume. Yes.
Legacy of Kain is a throwback.
It is, isn't it, dude?
We're probably ever going to see one of those again.
Yeah, probably not. I think the Kain franchise is dead, but it was massively popular at the tail end of, I think, the PlayStation 1.
Yeah, 2009.
Yeah, 2009?
Oh, no, wait.
Because that's a little bit late.
Anyways, yeah. That's when they got bought out.
Gotcha.
Square Enix Europe. Yeah. Anyways, sidetrack.
Yeah.
So, new Star Wars game.
New Star Wars game.
Hopefully something like Uncharted. That'd be a nice place to take it. I mean, as great as Fallen Order was for a lot of people, it reminded me so much of Force Unleashed, like God of War 1-y, kind of on rails.
I was going to say, because a lot of times you hear this roguelike because your enemies reset when you save, or not roguelike,
Dark Souls-like,
excuse me, because your enemies come back when you save or whatever. But honestly, Fallen Order played a bit like an action adventure platformy game. Like there was a lot of jumping from like you're doing your vine, where you
I watched quite a bit of it played.
It was honestly, it was good fun. I had a lot of fun with it.
But better than Force Unleashed. I'll give it that.
Yeah, it was better than Force Unleashed. I see this game, when they say richly cinematic, I'm thinking of those cinematic scenes from Uncharted, and you get your smuggler, or so.
Just excited.
Yeah, I'm just excited. Honestly, I'm just excited.
Is that the force in your pants, or
Is that a lightsaber in your pants? Because get it out. That's going to be harmful to somebody at least.
especially you?
Legacy of Kain came out in 2019. What we were thinking of was Soul Reaver, Legacy of Kain.
That was in like 1998.
1999.
Okay.
But yeah, I guess there was a sequel. There have been a couple sequels, but the latest one was 2019, Legacy of Kain.
Wow.
Did 3 people play it?
Apparently, because I like if you look up Legacy of Kain, a lot of the first search results you're going to get are for like YouTube videos for a music video. So yeah, I guess.
Wow.
I guess it's a relatively recent title. So I can't talk to her resume as far as that goes. Didn't play Legacy of Kain. It doesn't look like she was involved in the Soul Reaver stuff necessarily. But Jak and Daxter is always a good franchise. It was kind of overshadowed by Ratchet and Clank because it was a buddy platformer shooter, but you know, solid. So, but Uncharted speaks for itself. I mean, obviously, if she was the creative director for Uncharted,
that bodes very well.
it does. Yeah. So hard to knock that.
But yeah, those were my big things. The Playdate and Star Wars announcements.
They're making an It Takes Two movie. It Takes Two being the game where you play as a divorced parent or the divorcing parents of a little girl, and her wish to keep you together turns you into little dolls, and you have to go through a wacky childhood puzzle platform adventure with this romantic, like, relationship fixing book trying to help you through it. Played about half of the game with Sierra before PS4 died. It was fantastic. Every level was its own new novel mechanics on how to work together to solve these puzzles and fight things, and it was a blast. But they're making a movie, and apparently, like, Dwayne Rock might be the main character. Maybe he's the book. I don't know. But, like, the game is fantastic because it's a fantastic game. The storyline is what I told you. A girl wishes her divorcing parents aren't going to get divorced, and they get thrown into a wacky, wonderful land and then solve their problems. I don't know how you make that into a movie other than like straight designed for kids kind of thing.
That kid needs a lot of therapy.
Yeah. And honestly, as far as like a movie conversion, I can see that's a basic enough story
they're really going to have to add to it.
No, that's why they got The Rock. Because they're not going to add to it.
They're not going to add to it, man.
They're just going to put him in a khaki safari shirt.
Yeah.
Like all of his jungle movies.
They're just going to lean on Gibraltar, fam, for that.
I love you, Rock, but I mean, until you're a friend of the show like Shia LaBeouf.
Yeah.
True.
I mean, get in line.
Yeah.
I mean,
100%.
Yeah. That's it for gaming news.
Yeah, we're pretty
That was bottom of the barrel.
We're pretty close to wrapping up. We do have a few minutes left.
We have a few minutes.
So I want to bitch about the latest episode of Halo.
Okay.
So the very first thing that I want to say about the Halo TV series on Paramount Plus is that the writers have decided that everybody inside the UNSC makes all of their all of their decisions based on feelings. That the UNSC is entirely incompetent. That Master Chief is kind of a little bitch, and that he can only keep his helmet on for about 3 minutes at a time.
Minor Chief.
Master Cheeks, as they're calling him now.
Oh, that's a good.
They showed his buttons in episode 3.
Wow. Nuclear powered ass.
It was really disappointing because I thought episode 3 actually gave us some decent, like,
it was a step
some
forward.
decent narrative. It was slower paced than the first 2 episodes were. But it gave us some decent narrative. It gave us some actual story of this new Halo world universe that we've built, or that they're really fucking up building. And episode 3 was fine. It was decent TV. That could have been any other show, and I would have thought the same thing. I would have thought that that's pretty decent. It actually took it down a notch because it was Halo, and it's like, well, that wasn't Halo. I want to watch John Halo blow things up, but It was after episode 3, I was feeling a little bit more confident about the show, and then they took that feeling and they just shat upon it.
My Much like a seagull upon a buoy.
Well, so let's break it down just a little bit. So, what's her name? Quan Ha.
Yeah.
She was the kind of Quan Ha.
Quan Ha.
She was kind of the second main. She was one of the main characters of the first episode of the show.
Sure.
That continued in episode 2.
Yeah.
We saw a little bit less of her in episode 3. Now she's going back to Madrigal, her home planet, which she just came from, with an ex-Spartan, somebody that's been trained for their entire lives to be the perfect killing machine.
Well, I mean, admittedly, he ran away when he was a teenager, but
sure, but he got more training than the world's best soldiers in the UNSC.
yeah.
So, and he's cybernetically enhanced, and he's still wearing parts of his power armor. So, guy is nearly damage proof. Is highly trained, doesn't act like it. Not only that, but he is also like the universe's most famed pirate. I don't understand how this guy could be so goddamn. Yes, he's a space pirate.
Okay.
I don't understand how this guy could be so goddamn inept. He lets this little girl boss him around as if he had like no agency himself. All he does is question her decisions, and instead of being a fucking ex-military Spartan and just being like, no, we're not doing that. I'm going to lift you up and take you away. He lets her do stuff like walk in, like, so she is being hunted down. Her head is up for bounty. It's a crazy high bounty. The new ruler of Madrigal, this world that she comes from, is the one putting the price on her head. So it's like some ludicrous amount of money, instant wealth, right? So she decides to go into public places, showing her face, like completely unveiled, with a fucking Spartan behind her.
Wow.
So they get there, right? And she talks to some people that she knows, and they're like, no, I can't be seen with you. No, I don't want to get in trouble, and I don't want to get you in trouble. So she's like, okay, well, you know what I'm going to do next? I'm going to go to my aunt's house because she happens to be the wealthiest person on this planet. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Sounds like a good idea, right? Like just go, like these, like the police force has now been alerted of her presence because she made a huge hullabaloo in the middle of town.
That's true.
So the police forces have been alerted. So now she's not only just wanted, they know she's here. She's literally in the capital city. So she's being hunted. So she decides to go to her aunt's house, which, like, being that she's the only living relative that she has on Madrigal anymore, seems to be like maybe where people would be waiting for her. But no, people aren't waiting for her there. Nobody's waiting for her there. Instead, we get some really shitty conversation between the new President fucking Camacho and some crazy high-level assassin that they introduced in about 45 seconds and don't give any kind of display of power. The assassin hunts her down, kills her aunt. Ta-da. Quan Ha magically escapes with a Spartan who holds a fucking 6-round revolver for some, like, gold revolver for some fucking reason.
It's Golden Gun.
Sure. But also he reloads it about every time he shoots, even though he doesn't like mag dump every time. I don't know what's going on there.
That's just Halo lore, baby. You fire once or twice,
true.
you reload.
That is true. He has infinite. He has yeah. So okay. So they like jump out of a window and escape. Right. This super mega assassin, which in the presence of a Spartan. Okay. All right. You know where they go next? Her father's funeral, in which she shows her face, makes her presence known by getting into a fucking fight with people because they're not willing to rebel against the forces, the powers that be.
Oh yeah, she's trying to start a rebellion.
She's trying to start a rebellion.
She's angry that
they just gave up, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So she goes there and gets into like she's screaming at these people. There's literally guards here. Right? Like the police state is fucking here. And she just starts screaming. That's poor writing. Okay.
Yeah.
Next, let's get to Master Chief, right? Because he actually got like way less screen time. It took them 30 minutes of a 60-minute episode for him to walk in a house.
Remember a thing.
Start digging around in his yard.
With a regular shovel.
with a regular shovel. I fucking hate that so much. You don't give Master Chief a regular shovel. You maybe use the exosuits that you developed in the Mjolnir program that are now being used as like major loaders, construction exosuits, the things that people use to repair UNSC ships while in space. I don't know. Excavators, because you're the goddamn UNSC and your resources are plentiful.
He should have just punched into the ground.
Sure. Would have been way more effective,
and
right?
then yanked it the fuck out.
Take nearly indestructible metal and just dig real fast. Your hand is as big as the fucking shovel. You're 7'10" with the goddamn armor on. So why not use yourself? But instead, it's a fucking wood-handled shovel. Okay.
Go to your yard. Look around. Do you have a shovel out there? That's what Master Chief used.
But here's my biggest complaint. My biggest complaint is that whenever he touches the artifact, he has memories. And apparently, he's also some kind of special being. The thing that makes Master Chief special in this universe is the fact that he's special.
Yeah, the universe chose him.
He's a chosen.
He can touch old rocks and they make him think of mom.
Ignore the fact that he spent his entire life training to be a soldier, being perfect, being like the ultimate killing machine, being the ultimate military strategist, knowing weapons, knowing systems, knowing vehicles inside and out, being able to field strip warthogs. But no, he's the chosen one. So let's just lose everything that ever made Master Chief cool in the first place and remove it. Let's just remove everything that made him cool and just make him special by birth. God.
Yeah.
It's so frustrating. So while I make a lot of fun of the shovel, which I think is a sore point for me for sure, they took one of gaming's coolest characters and ruined him.
Yep. They shit him down the drain. You know, all things notwithstanding regarding Game of Thrones side, whatever, if the creators of the show had just watched like one episode of Arya and the Hound, the show would have been so much better.
Yeah.
Like, even if they're going to keep Claw in there and all this plot stuff, like, you want an asshole tough guy dude and a rebellious little girl like teaming up. That would have been fucking great. Yeah, use that as a framework,
dude. If the fucking ex-Spartan pirate would have just grabbed her by the mouth and said, "Shut up, cunt."
Yeah,
it would have been perfect.
It's gonna eat every goddamn grunt in this fucking place.
But instead, now his ship's been stolen, and the whole next episode is probably going to be two relatively who gives a fuck about these characters, all of the screen time on a planet that we've already left in the storyline once.
That doesn't matter anymore.
That doesn't matter at all to the it's no longer relevant to the plot of Master Chief.
Unless the other half of the artifact is there.
No, they found the other half of the artifact in episode 4.
Okay.
They found it because Master Chief had to remember in the middle of digging.
Had to remember.
He was like, "Oh wait, no, it's where the dog went in my dream shit, like in my memories that only the artifact can unlock, but also Cortana kind of can as well." Yeah. They had a whole thing where Cortana was reconstructing his memories of his house. That was a good 45% of all Chief's screen time. Also, this is how he finds out that he was kidnapped as a child to become a Spartan in Halsey's program, right? Which now he seems like all upset about, but he isn't vocalizing. So that's obviously going to be a big contention point later. He knows about that in Halo. And you know what he did? He didn't make a big fucking deal of it because he's the perfect goddamn conditioned killing machine.
Yep. Well, I feel like that's the thing is, didn't at some point all of the Spartans knew what they were at that? Like, they're like, oh, yeah.
They decided in this silver age of Halo, this new canon, that's not the case.
That they were going to get rid of their memories.
We are Black Ops edge lords. Yeah. That all we want to do is just...
Read The Fall of Reach. I really recommend you read The Fall of Reach.
The books were good.
The book was excellent. And I thought that they were going to kind of maybe go a little bit more towards the books, the way that they were finding the artifact, because they found an artifact on a rebel planet that turned out to be the index for the first Halo. I thought that would have been a relatively cool story arc. I think that's still where they're going with it, but they're throwing a bunch of like stupid ass shit in the middle of it that doesn't matter, like Chief's feelings and some unknown rebel that we should have cared about for a grand total of 15 minutes in the first episode.
I watched that first episode, and the first thought that came into my head was the whole subverting expectations thing. They're like, and the thing is they didn't even do that right. They didn't even give you time to learn that Master Chief was a badass, other than one fight where he kills 5 elites. You don't have any narrative or vocal characterization of why he is the way he is before 15 minutes later, he's given up his entire life to help a girl. Like, there wasn't even time to subvert an expectation, yet they did it so quick. It's just head over heels.
Honestly, I can't believe I ever thought he was going to keep his fucking helmet on at this point with how much his helmet's off.
I'll show you guys before you guys leave tonight how laughable the helmet thing is too.
Oh my god, dude, it's so. Hey, he spends more time walking around carrying his fucking helmet than he does fucking wearing it.
Yep.
And it's like,
see the actor's face.
It's like that's where all the information's at, homie. Is in the fucking HUD.
The rebels should be talking to each other, just like, you know what? Don't engage them. Eventually, he takes his helmet off, and then
you just shoot him in the head.
Yeah. Yep.
Like a watermelon.
At any rate,
Hopefully,
now that we've gone long,
2 episodes from now, it'll just like cold open with a guy waking up from a cold sweat, and
I'm just saying,
it's just a guy like, oh, that was a bad dream. Now to go watch the Halo show.
Firefly can't get renewed, but somehow this piece of shit's going to. I can feel it in my butthole that this show's getting renewed, but Firefly didn't get renewed. Come on. Fuck you.
Well, we actually already know that they've started work on season 2 of Halo, so we have that to look forward to.
You do.
Yeah, I guess so.
Same.
Yeah. All right, guys. I think it's about time to wrap it up.
All righty.
Good night.
Saran wrap.
Thank you all for having me.
Yes, and Justin, thank you for joining us. All right, everybody. We will see you next week. Until then,